You gotta love that part in the Matrix, right? Well, you don't have to. I mean, that's me laying down a law, and nobody has to do anything. But that part in the Matrix, after Neo does all this crazy stuff on the roof and whatever, and Morpheus is there, and he's telling Neo he's the one. You're the one. And Neo says no, but the prophet, the oracle. The oracle said, I'm not the one. And he says, well, she told you exactly what you needed to hear at the time. That's all. You're the one, but you needed to hear at that time you weren't the one, you know. And then Morpheus goes on to say, Neo, you will learn just as I have. There is a difference between knowing the path and walking the path. And there's some depth to that. And so I think of the scriptures, you know, and how often we hear, you know, I just follow the Bible, or I just believe the scriptures, or I just do what the scriptures say. And you come to find out eventually that the scriptures can be justified in 1,000 ways, or your behavior, let's say, my behavior, your attitude, whatever, can be justified 1,000,000 ways by the scriptures. If you have a confrontational attitude, you can find plenty, or disposition, or whatever, of the carnal nature, you can find plenty and plenty of justifications for being that way in the scriptures. If you're the guy, the nice guy who wants to please everybody and wants to keep things kind of soft and smooth, yeah, you can find justification for that in the scriptures too. You know, you don't want to cause problems. You want to maintain peace, all of that. But what is not bound, or who is not bound, is the Spirit. You see, we can go to the scriptures and, like I said, find all sorts of justifications for ourselves, and we do. We'd be liars if we said we didn't. Even to having all the right doctrine and having it all lined out so perfectly well that it's irrefutable, and we got every gotcha point we can make. But the Spirit is unbound. The Spirit is not prohibited in any way. And so we find out when we use the scriptures to justify our behavior, well, Jesus overturned tables. Well, Jesus called them a brood of vipers. And we find the Spirit's rebuke. We get a little puzzled sometimes. Or it might even make us cause us to dig our heels in even harder. Can you imagine that? A man holding on to being right? That he digs his heels in even more? But it is even in the scriptures. Those that are led by the Spirit of God, these are the sons of God. So yes, we can go to the scriptures, and we are to go to the scriptures for learning. And we learn about how men are broken. We learn how, in certain circumstance, God will take the proud and rub their face in their pride. God will take the humble and lift them up. God will break the stiff-necked. And God will deal according to his Spirit to conform his people to the image and likeness of Jesus Christ. Bless you.